Hi VC, Jeff here. Hope everyone's doing well. I wanted to make another video to show my recent purchases. I am so excited all week actually I've been really excited to make this video, and I'm just, excuse the dog, he absolutely insisted. This is probably my 5th time starting this video, and he just kept insisting on jumping up in my lap each time, so I just figured why fight it. He'll get down eventually. I think he thinks I'm talking to him, but he's a vinyl lover as well. So this whole week I've been really excited about making this video and showing some of my finds. Really excited about them. Some of them I'm blown away that I found in the condition that they are, and I'm gonna just get right into it. Let's start off with a bang. Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream. This is an original first press. It's not the colored vinyl, it's the black vinyl. And if I had to pick one album from the 90s that would be my favorite, this would be it right here. This album I absolutely love. I think it's a work of genius. I actually got to see Smashing Pumpkins on this tour at the Metropolis Theatre here in Montreal, with Swerve Driver opening up. It was an amazing show. I was right up in front of the stage. It was incredible to just see Billy Corgan, and especially Jimmy Chamberlin. He's one of my, being a drummer myself, he's one of my all-time favorite drummers. And in the 90s, when I was in bands playing alternative music, he was a huge inspiration to me and influence. So I can't believe I found this. I know that I picked up the Gish reissue. For some reason I always held off on getting this reissue, and I'm glad I did. It was actually a little store that sold a lot of DVDs and CDs, and they had some vinyl in the back, and I wasn't really expecting much, but lo and behold I came across it, spun it, well, cleaned it up and spun it. It sounds incredible, so very happy to have it. 2 days later I was in one of my other favorite record stores and found this. This is Adore Smashing Pumpkins. It's a double gatefold first press in mono. These are pretty hard to come by in good condition. They can go for a lot of money online, so I was lucky to find this here in Montreal locally, and I cannot believe it. This is, you know, you usually don't come across stuff like this without having to pay a bit of a hefty price. I happen to like this album very much. You know, a lot of people complain when Smashing Pumpkins wasn't releasing, you know, music that was like Siamese Dream or like, you know, Melancholy. I love the fact that there can be different periods to a band, music that you can relate to, and that could, you know, speak to you at different times in your life. And Siamese Dream was great because it exists as one snapshot in time, and I'm happy that he didn't really try to follow the same formula all the time. This has a little bit more of a drum machine, electronic, with rock, some more slower, softer songs, but I absolutely love it. I love the whole thing as a piece of art, and having it in mono is fantastic as well. Great pressing, very happy to have it in the collection. Next up, I'm really happy I found this, because this was very hard to find in Montreal. This is Ghost, their debut album. I had the CD, and I literally love this band. It's my new favorite band. I just got my tickets to see them in Montreal in May at the Corona Theatre. And this is great because when I came across it in the store, it was sealed, but there was no sticker on it to identify whether it was colored vinyl, or I know there was a kind of a clear splattered vinyl going on. This is actually a really beautiful pressing here. This is the front, back, and full little gatefold to the side. And like I said, there was no sticker. I took a chance anyway. I was hoping it wouldn't be on black vinyl, and I was lucky. It's actually gold colored vinyl. I don't know if that's going to show up in the video, but beautiful copy. So I didn't really want to order it because the shipping was really high on a lot of the websites that was offering this. So when I was flipping through the G section, you can imagine my excitement when I found this. The splatter vinyl would have been cool, but you know what? The gold is really nice. It's a quality pressing. Very flat, very quiet, no hiss or noise between the tracks. And I don't know what the rest of you feel about this band. I mean, I think you either love them or hate them. It definitely has a old school Merciful Fate vibe going on, but with a lot of pop, like a lot of hooks and melody. And it's a bit camp, but I don't know, I just love the band. I think the songs are strong, and especially the new song that's out right now. I think the new album drops in April. Really excited, to pick it up, hopefully on vinyl. And very excited, looking forward to the show May 7th here in Montreal. One of my new favorite bands. Love it. Let's see, the next one up is a band, heavy metal band from the 80s. This is a Japanese band called Loudness. I originally had this on vinyl when I was a kid, and I loved it, especially this album here. It was produced by Max Norman, who worked with everyone from Ozzy Osbourne, Megadeth. He's done a lot of the albums that I grew up listening to, especially that 80s production. He was one of my favorite producers. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this album, but for those of you that like 80s heavy metal, bass guitar, this is actually a really, really good album. One of my favorites from the 80s. Happy to found that. This is I believe the album Lightning Strikes. It came out after Thunder in the East. I don't like it as much. I still enjoy it as an album, but I think Thunder in the East made such an impression on me. I think it was going to be hard for any album to really follow up. But as a follow-up, I don't feel it's as strong, but just on its own, I quite enjoy it. And this is a promotional copy, and it's in mint condition. Very, very happy about that. Next one up is Whitesnake. This one is a live album, live in the heart of the city. I'm a huge Whitesnake fan. I'm a huge David Coverdale fan. I mean, his work with Deep Purple as a solo artist, the different incarnations of Whitesnake throughout the 80s and 90s, and still a big fan of the band to this day. I think the last two albums that they released are some of the strongest rock albums that are out there right now, especially the last one, Forevermore. I mean, just amazing. Doug Aldrich on guitar, amazing old school guitar player, great tone, great feel. His work with Dio was apart from Vivian Campbell, some of my favorite work done by guitarists with Ronnie James Dio. Back to David Coverdale, even his work with Jimmy Page. I mean, Coverdale Page was one of my favorite albums that was released from the rock genre in the 90s. This is a stellar mint copy. The sound is amazing, and I always loved people that could take rock and infuse that blues, that old school blues feeling, and especially early Whitesnake, they were able to do that, and Coverdale is one of my all-time favorite vocalists. Just an amazing, iconic, when you hear his voice, you know. I was lucky to find this. This is the 1987 self-titled Whitesnake album. Original first pressing. This is dead mint. Played this the other night. Sounds fantastic, and this is just a great album. Every song on here is killer. So very, very happy about that. Okay, the next couple of albums, I make no bones about it, no apologies. I'm a metalhead. That's the music that I really started listening to. I think I've said this in previous videos. My first album was Kiss Alive when I was 5 years old, and I like 80s rock, glam rock, heavy metal. Not so crazy about the look that some of these bands chose to follow, but I love the music. This band, this started to happen around 87. After Guns N' Roses came out, a lot of these other kind of, people call them copycat bands from the Sunset Strip out of Los Angeles started coming out. But the thing is, a lot of these bands that were coming out, their debut albums always, to me, were amazing, because they had spent years developing this material, waiting to get signed. Then once the second, third, fourth album started coming out, the quality of the material would start to, degenerate and kind of just go downhill, and that's when they would start to lose me. But I just think if you could pick 10 bands from that era, you could probably assume that all their debut albums are just incredible, And LA Guns is one of these bands. It's just such a strong debut, great songs, you know, in the vein of, you know, Guns N' Roses, Faster Pussycat, all these bands, but there's a toughness to the sound. You got Steve Riley in the band on drums, who came in from Wasp. Although he doesn't play on this album, he definitely did the tour and subsequent albums. This is mint condition, first press, sounds amazing. I have this on CD, but to find this on vinyl in Montreal just blew my mind. Next one up is Salty Dog. This is a band, I believe this album was released in 1990. This was their first and only album. They ended up breaking up shortly after. They got dropped by the record company. This album blew me away when I first heard it, because this is a true band rock, that United States rock that was going on in the 90s, infused with blues and a real English feel, like a 70s, 80s rock English feel to this band. This album is incredible. I have it on CD, I had it on cassette, and when I found this still sealed, I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was still sealed, so the vinyl had never been played. It sounded amazing. I mean, this band's definitely got like an AC/DC, Zeppelin vibe going on with blues and that English rock. For those of you who aren't familiar with this but like the style of music that I just described, YouTube some of these clips, and I'm sure you'll find them. I can't believe they only did one album, but very happy. This is like a grail for me, so I'm very happy that I found that. Next one up is a jazz album, Sarah Vaughan. This is a live album, I think from '63, I think. She played I guess a small jazz club in Stockholm. But I saw this in the record store when I was going through everything else, and I love jazz, I love Sarah Vaughan, I have some CDs of hers, but what really drew me to this was the Fontana label at the top, and I've showed previous Fontana labels in my videos, specifically the Black Sabbath self-titled from Australia on the Fontana label. I have like I'm like in love with the Fontana label right now. Anything that I find on the Fontana label, I have to pick up. This sounds amazing for an album that was released in 1963. I mean, the record, the jacket's a little beat up, but the record is mint, and it sounds so good. And I don't believe I had anything live from her on CD, so to actually hear her in a club playing with the Kurt Stewart Trio. The album's called Who Is This Girl Called Sassy? Awesome. And being on, this is a Holland press, so being on the Fontana label really piqued my interest. Very happy I have that. This was a shot in the dark for me. Spooky Tooth, I mean, I've heard stuff on the radio, and I'm definitely familiar with the name, but I saw this album and I saw other VC members showing the album, talking about the band in their own videos. So when I saw the cover, I recognized it from some of the videos, and I figured I'm going to try it. It's in great condition, original cover. I think it's got this little thing up here in the corner, so I don't know if this was intended to be like a listening copy for a radio station or a record store. But this is a US print, and I really, really like it. I'm going to be picking up more of these guys. So, you know, and that's the other great thing about the VC, and probably why my videos, I don't really do as many videos as I started out doing, because I'm at night, you know, before bed, I like to kind of go on and look at your videos, and it's seeing the stuff that you guys are finding and you guys are showing that's kind of widening my scope of things that might interest me. Whereas before, I would maybe come across an album or a cover and it wouldn't really jog my memory, or it wouldn't set off an alarm. But because I'm seeing so many videos and seeing so many great things that you guys are showing, when I see a cover now, a flag is raised, and then I start inspecting and decide to pick it up, like this next one. Uriah Heep. Now, I'll be honest, the only reason why this band was on my radar is because I believe in the early 80s, when they were kicked out of Ozzy Osbourne's original solo band, when Ozzy was with Randy, Bob Daisley and Lee Kerslake were in this band together. So that's kind of how I knew of the name, but I never had an album. Found this one, and I love it. So I'm on the hunt for more. I realize a lot of people have been telling me you gotta check out the 70s stuff. The lineup's a little different, but I know there's other great albums from these guys out there to be found. So this one was in great shape. I love the cover. For some reason, it really reminds me, or maybe it's where Metallica was inspired to do the Jump in the Fire 12-inch single from the UK for that single that came off Kill 'Em All. I don't know, kind of similar vibe there going on. Have you found that? The next one, I was saying that, you know, I'd be watching your videos and I'd see things that would trigger a memory. Well, I have LJ to thank for this. You know, I love his videos. For those of you who aren't familiar, you know, check out his channel. I'm sure all of you know LJ. But he was, I think there was a video he posted 2 weeks ago, and he'll always kind of, you know, face out some albums so you see the cover in the background on his shelves, and he changes them with each video. And in the last one, or second to last one, he had this beside him on one of the shelves. And I mean, I love this band. I had this on cassette, have this on CD. Huge fan of J.P. Lee, huge fan of Ray Gillen and Eric Singer. This debut album was so strong. Again, that blues influenced, you know, fused with rock. It just works, and I love it. But you know, I haven't come across it on vinyl in Montreal, so I kind of forgot about it. And when I saw it on LJ's shelf, I even wrote him. I said, "Wow, I'd love to find that on vinyl." And sure enough, there was an eBay auction from a gentleman here in Canada, and I was able to pick it up for a really great price with 2 other LPs, and he shipped them together, and they just came in the other day. I haven't had a chance to play it, but it's mint. It was sealed. I just opened it to inspect the album. The original sticker on there promoting 2 of the songs, Dreams in the Dark and Winter's Call. This is one of my favorite albums, I have to say. I mean, these are stellar musicians, especially to have Eric Singer on drums. He's one of my all-time favorite drummers. And so thank you, LJ, for showing this in your video and reminding me of what a great band this was. The next one up is 2 out of the 3 that I bought off eBay that came shipped together. This is an artist called Jean Bouphe. I'm sure some of you will know him from his time in the Plasmatics. He played bass in the Plasmatics, I believe. But I was aware of the Plasmatics. I mean, I would see them on Much Music and stuff growing up, but where I really got to know him was through Kiss and Paul Stanley, because in the mid-'80s, especially around Animalize, he helped Paul Stanley on some songwriting, and I believe that he played bass on some tracks. I hate to disappoint those Kiss fans out there, but there was some albums in the 80s where Gene didn't play bass all the time. You know, Paul would play bass, or Bruce, or Eric Carr. Supposedly Eric Carr played bass on I Still Love You, off Creatures of the Night. But he did a lot of work on Animalize, and he was friends with Paul Stanley. And this guy is really, really, really talented. And I'd never, you know, I'm aware of him, and I have some of his stuff in some compilations that I've accumulated over the years, but never an album. And when I saw the gentleman who was selling the Badlands also had this album, I figured I gotta get it. And it's great. You know, it's first press, excellent condition, and I mean, it's very dated. You know, it was released in '88, I think, '86. So it's definitely got that '80s production, but the songs are there. You know, regardless of the production, if the songs are strong, it's going to come through. So I actually quite enjoyed it, and it's a nice addition to the collection. And it's cool that there's a Kiss connection there. Next one up is Hughes and Thrall. I'm a huge fan of Glenn Hughes. I loved his work with Deep Purple. I love his work with Black Sabbath on the 7 Star album, which is one of my personal faves. I love his voice, I love his bass playing. To me, he's like this iconic, real, true rock star. You know, great musician, great music writer, and you know, even with that Black Country Communion, love his work with that band. You know, his voice still sounds amazing, his bass playing is amazing. So this came up on my radar. This is a promo copy of, I guess, you know, not a solo album, but a collaboration between him and Pat Thrall. I'm not all that familiar with Pat Thrall. I haven't heard the album yet, but I did check out some clips on YouTube, and again, it does, you know, it's got that 80s production to it, that the songs are really, really cool. And I was reading online that it's actually considered a real gem among collectors. It's a classic album to find and to have in your collection. It's in mint condition, first press. It's got a promo stamp here in the back. So I'm looking forward to spinning this later today, and it's a nice addition to the collection. All right, next one I actually found yesterday on my lunch break. This is Skid Row's debut album, first press, US copy. Mint condition, cover's great. I actually spun this last night. It sounds amazing. You know, this is again another example of very strong debut albums from these type of bands. Although I will say I am a fan of Skid Row, and right up until, well, all the albums that they did with Sebastian Bach I happen to love. Subhuman Race, Slave to the Grind, I'd love to find that on vinyl. That's a really strong actual follow-up, which is rare, you know, especially with 80s rock bands. Sometimes the follow-ups weren't as strong, but Slave to the Grind is a damn strong album. Very happy to have this in the collection. Something else I also found yesterday along with the Skid Row title was Rainbow, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. Huge Deep Purple fan, huge Rainbow fan, love Ronnie James Dio. I mean, Ronnie James Dio, you know, talk about a musician, just such a caliber. You know, he really sets the bar high on you think of every project that he's worked on, he has just totally shined. You know, Elf, Rainbow, Black Sabbath, his solo stuff, getting back together with Black Sabbath under the moniker Heaven and Hell. You know, got to see those guys play, and on the first time they reunited, well, not the first time they reunited, but the most recent, a couple years before he passed, and just blew me away. My favorite Rainbow album is Rising, but you know what, I revisited this, I played this last night, and I hadn't heard it for a couple of years. I mean, other than some key tracks that were on some compilations and live stuff, you know, Dio would perform Man on Silver Mountain. I've got a Rainbow DVD of a show they did in the 70s that's got like Still I'm Sad and Catch the Rainbow and all that. But I don't really remember a lot of the other songs because I only played Rising, you know. But wow, I have a newfound love for this album. It's just so good, and the production is really, really good. So I was happy to find it, and it's in beautiful condition. I mean, the album's a little worn here on the spine, but the actual vinyl's mint. It sounds great. So very happy to have that. And the next one, which is the last long play I got, is Rush Presto. This was another one I found yesterday along with the other two. And I picked it up. It was only $6. And the jacket was in great condition, and the vinyl looked good. I mean, the vinyl looked like, you know, I would just have to clean it and it would be fine. But I was really disappointed to find that even after 2 cleanings, there's a lot of Rice Krispies going on. I don't own any albums that make crackling noise between tracks. I can't stand that. I only try to get excellent to mint pressings. You know, the vinyl's got to shine. There's got to be a gloss there. I don't even like little hairline marks on my records, you know, because I'm not collecting to just acquire stuff and keep them on a shelf. I'm collecting and buying to play. I want to enjoy the album. So this was a huge disappointment because I actually dig this album, and I took it off the turntable and I cleaned it a second time, and it's, you know, I don't know, maybe I could take a vacuum to it. So to me, it's a bit of a loss. It's virtually unplayable. I mean, it sounds like there was one song where it wasn't as bad, and the sound is really, really good on this, but it's just the crackling little pops that are going on during the songs. It was driving me crazy. So $6. It's like I said, it'll be an experiment on that vacuuming, a way to clean records with vacuuming. So I'll try it, but it's a bummer. Hopefully, I'll find another copy here in Montreal, and that won't be so crackle and poppy in between the songs. So that's it for the long play. I did want to show one last thing. I picked it up last week. It's the 45 single for Electric Wizard for their new song, Legalize Drugs and Murder. It's a collectible limited edition green vinyl. And it's very cool. I really, really like Electric Wizard. It's a genre that I'm kind of getting into right now, the whole Doom, you know, picked up some Pentagram and some Pilgrim, and just checking out a couple of other bands, and I've been listening to a lot of the stuff online for Electric Wizard, and I love it. So I just thought I would show that. It's really, really, really cool little limited edition 45. So that's it. I think what I'm going to do is leave you guys with a little sample of the Sarah Vaughan album. I filmed it when I was spinning it the other day. So I'm going to sign off with that. Thanks again to everyone.